aftershocks that the computers can't keep up with, believe it or not, and they're trying to sort it all out right now as we look at some incredible pictures of our infrastructure just crumbling there out on the 10 freeway.
Okay, Kerry, as we look at these live pictures, we're being inundated with information here to the newsroom as well. Late reports coming in now that there are at least 30, 40 homes perhaps on fire in Sylmar. Of course, that was the epicenter of the quake back in 71.
Right?
We will certainly open Red Cross shelters just as soon as we are able to do that. So we would ask people to be patient, to certainly know that Red Cross is in the field, and we will be getting shelters open wherever necessary as quickly as possible.
Peggy, do you have shelter locations at all yet?
Not at this time. We are obviously monitoring the media such as this very closely. I'm working with the fire department, and we will open those shelters at their request and wherever the most serious areas are where people will not be able to go back into their homes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, as we talk, if you could just hold for a second, please, Peggy. The pictures you're now seeing on the screen were shot just about 20 minutes ago here in Hollywood, where we have been reporting some of the most severe damage has occurred. Our Tony Ginyard standing by live in Sherman Oaks, where we understand there's a major fire burning.
That's right. One of the
area have been crushed, and this is the first that we have heard of cars being damaged in the collapse of any freeway. We also had word that there may be one fatality that is being reported. Perhaps that is the area that that fatality took place in, if cars are crushed by an earthquake or by a overpass collapse in this earthquake. So we will, of course, try to get more information on that.
And again, suffice it to say, this is the day that you stay off the roadways. The emergency vehicles need access to scenes like you are looking at the moment, a fire burning on Ventura Boulevard. This is an area not far from the epicenter of this morning's earthquake, and an area we are being told now has been heavily damaged. A lot of buildings, a lot of commercial buildings on Ventura Boulevard. This is not the only fire and not the only building to have been damaged. We understand there have been some collapsed buildings. Usually, David, as you were talking about earlier, the older buildings, some still, even in 1994, haven't been reinforced.
Right.
And those buildings, usually in a quake of this magnitude, are the first to go. And this is an extraordinarily violent earthquake.
No doubt about that.
I mean, you know, when you're lying in bed and you feel it, it feels violent. But now we're getting confirmation that because of the nature of the quake, it was particularly violent.
A severe 6.6 quake as opposed to, say, a rolling 6.6. It's good that they have water out there, of course. We had reports, in fact, I heard them earlier from DWP, that there were broken water mains throughout the San Fernando Valley, and that's clearly what Tony Ginyard saw up the street, because there's the water coming now out of a what could have been a fire hydrant at one time, or a broken water main underground. So there has been disruption of water service perhaps as well.
who owns that structure, and he was basically in tears. He couldn't say anything.
Which one?
Larry, I believe.
Okay, yeah, okay, Larry. I called Howard, the owner of Needham Kurt Salon, which is the hair salon that's over there on fire. It hasn't hit, I just talked to one of the chief firemen, and it has not hit the lower structures yet. Right now it's just in my gallery, you know, a while when it was still very dark. And a gentleman literally almost grabbed me and said, "You stand right here, what are you doing here?" You know. And I said, "Well, that's my husband inside there, this is our business." And when my husband came out, he said, "Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." You know.
This is the business here with all of the glass, the plate glass windows just shattered. They were able to get their artworks out. This is an art gallery. They were able to save most of the things inside, but at the same time, they're standing and looking at the business owners across the street, knowing that they're their friends and knowing that there is nothing left to save. But I think Kathy put it all into perspective. I guess we should.
Is in an automobile at a collapse of the interstate on the 14 Antelope Freeway, where it intersects with I-5 just north of the San Fernando Valley, and reportedly a person killed in an automobile when part of the freeway there, part of the freeway ramp collapsed.
And we're getting reports at least 3 major freeways in the area have now suffered serious.
The additional tremors that are occurring right now. And we're feeling it constantly here. The whole place rolls every once in a while.
What about tents? I understand that you've gotten quite a few tents to come out here as well.
I have a load of tents coming in. They should be in here before 6 o'clock. Families who want a tent, we'll give them a tent to take back to their facility and put it up in their front lawn if they want to.
Why are you expecting such a large crowd? Just by driving through this area in Van Nuys, there are a lot of apartment buildings. Does that have something to do with the density of this area?
That's 90% of it. The apartment buildings themselves have evidently been proclaimed unsafe in some areas, and some of the folks don't want to stay in there whether they're safe or not because they keep rattling and rolling. Once that stops, maybe the folks will then be willing to go back inside. But in the meantime, we'll be giving them a tent and say, if this is your security, we'll be able to support you. Come here, get your meals. If you don't want to stay inside the building, here's a tent.
Once again, what time are you opening up? What time are you serving meals?
We're serving the meals starting at 4 o'clock, just a few minutes from now, and then at 5 o'clock we'll be opening to take people into the shelter.
And what are your guesses? Are you anticipating a full house at this point?
I anticipate a full house and may have an overflow. If we do, then we'll have to bring in some more cots.
Some more cots? Other places to go to?
Yes, we have 2 other locations, one in Burbank and one in Glendale, which are overflows for us. But at this point, we believe this is going to be our primary location.
Again, this is the Simi Valley area, 118 San Fernando Valley Freeway, right near, it's kind of in the area of Yosemite, and Stern is the general area. I'll tell you what, gents, Phil, you're still hot, but why don't we swing around and start heading back in?
Mobile home park, and residents there had to recover quite quickly from the earth movement in order to grab hoses and try to hose down their mobile homes, water down those that weren't on fire, and try to put out the flames. Yeah, Pat, unfortunately about 10 to 12 of those mobile homes were lost, just went up very, very quickly, like just incredible fuel for the fire that broke out right after the earthquake happened.
Notified it to make sure no one's in there. Yeah, is there any water? Sure. How do you on top of the net? There's the water here. Want a break, bud? Here, we're going to save our water. There's no water in the park. Is that a problem right now? There's no water in the park. We're going to save our water. Here.
earthquake hit and all of the tons and tons of cement came down on top of him. Firefighters were able to talk to him. They are able to talk to him. They say, of course, he is in great pain, but he is awake. He is conscious. He is able to talk to them, and they are bringing in some extra resources here. We just talked to the captain. We tried to get him over here for our live camera, but of course he is working over there at the time now. But he says it'll be about perhaps another hour or so before they're able to get this man out. Another worker here who I spoke to a little while ago says he thinks the man's name is Salvador, that he is a friend of his. He thinks that's the man who's down there. Actually, this happened, of course, early this morning, and one of the security guards was able to call the firefighters because he hadn't seen the man after the earthquake, and that's when they were able to somehow determine that the man is underneath all of that concrete right now. But firefighters say that they do believe they'll be able to bring him out and bring him out alive, but it could be perhaps another hour or so. Again, it was a 3-story parking structure here at the Northridge Fashion Center. This whole thing collapsed early this morning. Actually, we just had an aftershock about 5 minutes ago, and we're standing on some slabs of concrete here, and they started to rock back and forth, and all of us here, the firefighters and the media, we saw her jumped off of this slab right here, but everything was okay and things didn't move here. But we'll be watching this situation here.
Is very unstable right now, and we all had images of that come crashing down, and some of the photographers did get off of the way, collapsed at least a quarter of a mile of the freeway. You can see a huge gap in between where the freeway actually detached right there. Let me just tell you that that was not that wide 10 minutes ago. We seem to have observed that that widened after the most recent aftershock. So it really is unsafe. The damage is not over yet. A lot of the integrity of these bridges has been sacrificed, and you are not encouraged to drive in any areas. If an officer tells you to stay. Middle of Balboa Boulevard, and a fire caused by a broken gas main, and the flood here will not put that fire out. As a result of the fire that started, we're told by people in this area, about 4:30 this morning, right after the earthquake, we have 5 homes that have now burnt down. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we see here in the area. The fire crews have just shown up, and they're trying to put these fires out. We have 3 homes on this side of Balboa Boulevard. We have 2 homes on the left-hand side here. This truck in the middle of the street, we're told that he stalled out in the process of driving through this. His car exploded, burst into flames. Luckily, the people did make it out. We're also told that the residents of these 5 homes made it out okay, but as we said, fire crews have just shown up here on the scene, and they're starting to look through the burned out areas to find out, in fact, if anyone was trapped inside. Now, joining me here is Michael Rumack. And Michael, you live in the home right here behind us.
Went in through their back door, and we got them out, and they went with some other neighbors down the street. We didn't really keep an eye on that, but we were just out here trying to help out these guys with the dually and the cars coming through.
All right. Michael, thank you so much. We bumped into some concerned relatives here in the area. They were rushing over to this structure over here to my right to cars and ran who knows where. So this is kind of an incredible scene here in this neighborhood in Granada Hills. I'm Michelle Geely reporting live back to you in the studio.
two-story home. Yes. Okay.
You're looking at the second of two people who were rescued out of this building as one floor collapsed on top of another. The person you're looking at being rescued now, he was on the first floor, and right underneath where he was a carport. Now let's come back out to me live here, and I'll try to give you an idea of just there. Right underneath that area is a carport, or what was a carport. Underneath that right now are a number of crushed cars, just flattened cars. What happened is apparently the supports from that carport just shook and shook. You're looking at is people who live inside this building, and they're just out front now, many with blankets wrapped around them, gathering their belongings, collecting their wits, doing whatever they can as rescue workers are still going in and out of the building looking for others. People are trying to assist firefighters whenever they can, if they know of anyone who might be inside. This building is destroyed. Certainly it's going to have to be leveled as the cleanup for this effort begins.
Because we are told there are two people in there, a man and his daughter. I'm Michelle Holden, reporting live in Northridge.
Michelle, just real quickly, you do not have confirmed fatalities there, no confirmed dead?
Keep talking, it's your other video. You may be looking right now at video that we shot earlier here in Northridge. People, of course, this happened at 4:30 in the morning, so people are bundled up in blankets and their night clothes. They are crying, they are upset, they are frightened. Many of them don't have anywhere else to go. And you can see from what's out here, they have lost everything. A great many people have lost everything. There is a whole other area that we've not yet shown you where cars, the parking garage, collapsed onto cars. So many people here would have no way of escaping or going to friends and families' homes right now because their vehicles have been damaged. They're trapped. So as soon as the Red Cross is able to let these people know where a shelter will be available for them, it will be greatly appreciated.
Michelle, did you know if they have found more people, if they've pulled more people out of the rubble since we last spoke?
No, Pat. We don't know if they have pulled more people out yet. I don't think so, because as I said...
Helicopter pictures, well, let's drop that for a moment and go to live pictures from Sky 9 of a train derailment, freight train derailment, overturned cars, look like propane tank
cars. That's dangerous.
Don't know exactly the location. Is Frank Buckley in Sky 9? Frank, are you there?
Yeah, Kerry, I'm here.
What are we looking at, Frank?
We are, again, just south of the Northridge Fashion Square, and you are looking, in fact, at a train derailment. I believe this is the Metrolink line, the same line that the Metrolink uses. This is not the Metrolink train here, obviously. This is, we see cargo and department store, the furniture department store, and then just beyond that is where the train derailed. Thank goodness you can see the tankers there, and we're not sure if they have chemicals or propane, but we see no signs of fire there, despite this incredible train derailment here that occurred. But the others are standing. There is one locomotive, however, on the inside. We're hoping the guy or the woman piloting that was able to get out. But there you see the Levitt's furniture store now. You can see the couches just hanging out exposed because the entire wall of the Levitt's furniture store collapsed. That is right next to, just for a locator for people familiar with the area, the Best store, if you ever pass through this area, and it's just south of the Northridge Fashion Square. Bill, pan up and to your left and show them that parking structure now. This is another parking structure that we hadn't seen before at the Northridge Fashion Square. That is just south of the robbing structure had been full. Luckily, just in passing over it, we haven't seen any cars that have been smashed underneath there, which is a good sign. We do see some firefighters working it. They're standing in the middle of the structure, and presumably they are looking for any signs of life to see if anyone is in there. But from here, I'm trying to get an idea, but it doesn't look not really sure what the effort is there, but something is happening because, as you can see, the entire structure went down. And again, this is at the Northridge Fashion Center, and this is their parking structure. Back to you.
Frank, can you hear me?
Yes.
You know, you showed us a picture earlier of the train derailment, and while we didn't see any fires, it looked, Carrie and I were just talking about this, it looked like we saw something, a leak of some kind.
I'm sorry, about
some kind of fluid on the ground. Now, I don't know what that...
fluid on the ground?
Yeah.
I mean, you can see some fluid on the ground coming out of one of the tankers. Let's take a look. We're going to go over to the tanker and show you what you're talking about. That's a good call. We're coming right up on it now. And pan down, Phil. You'll see it there. We want to see the liquid. There it is, right there. Let's try to get a closer look. Yeah, we can't tell what it is, but as you can see, it looks like the fire department has come in and foamed it, or either that or the material itself is white. We can see where the cars are bunched up. I don't know if you can see it there from your angle, but if you can pull out a little bit, Bill, and it appears as if there's some white material. We're reading the side of the tanker. It says ASTX. Sulfuric acid, Phil? Okay, that's it. Phil Arno, the photographer, is saying that may be sulfuric acid there, but we see folks walking around. It looks like officials from the trains, and they are walking around, and it does say sulfuric acid. Okay, it says sulfuric acid. You can read it. Yeah, there it is.
Yes, we do. We can see it, Frank. But there are fire department crews on the scene.
Well, I'll tell you, Pat, I don't see any fire crews here. What I do see are people from, I'm not sure which rail company it would be, but it appears that they're wearing the hard hats and they're working the area. I don't see anyone in the hazmat, in the hazardous materials suits. But that's your scene here with this train derailment.
Okay, Frank, if you could hold those pictures for us, please. We'd like to bring in on the telephone from the Federal Emergency Management Administration, Phil Kogan. Phil, are you there?
503, you're at the Ventura Freeway?
That's a phone.
03, okay, you landing at the northwest corner?
South of the Los
03,
Angeles
northwest
Reservoir,
corner.
the lower retention basin.
Yeah, I am talking to him.
And this would be just to the west again of the 405 freeway.
Yes, I'm just crossing the freeway also.
And you can see the water is just spraying.
Van Nuys helicopter, 020. 020, northwest corner, where do you wish to go?
Water is spraying into the air.
That's approved. Traffic is another helicopter just north of us, departing tracks west also to the Northridge area. Use caution in that area.
Again, up there, what Phil is showing you is the actual
and Cop 373 be another helicopter behind you westbound on track.
Coming from. That water is brought into this area via pipeline. And then, as you can see, there's that pipeline.
And I go 54, clearing north, switching to advisory. And launch advisory? I go 54, switching up to advisory.
50 to 100 feet in the
54, Van Nuys, roger, that's approved.
They're trying to close off the valve, it looks like. Are they?
Yeah, are they making an attempt on it?
Look at the valve. Yeah, they're looking, looks like they're trying to close a valve here.
They may be attempting a...
580, passing just north of Greek Church,
let's take a look here. There is a truck right in the middle of all of that water, and there are some men.
Look to your left.
Yeah, I see that.
Okay.
They're doing something with one of the pipes. It looks like they're working that valve
northbound on Balboa.
to try to cut off the water.
Thank you.
Now that would presumably be the water that continues on. I think the water that we're seeing there is the water that comes down from the reservoir. So maybe they're cutting it off, going down from the reservoir. But that right there, where the water is coming out, it's quite an incredible scene, and creating quite a bit of erosion right there in the mud and creating its own path. And it burns out of that building. I can't imagine.
373, roger. And chopper 2.
Do I need to break it off a little bit to the right side, Phil? You're okay, I think. I'll bring it a little bit so you don't have to be looking straight so down.
Okay, use caution. There's a lot of helicopter, a lot of activity out there.
Looks like you washed that one truck right off the road.
And I'm not on TV anymore.
Okay.
That's a water truck there.
Okay, we're not hot anymore, Phil.
Okay.
All right, let's go back over to Silmar.
Okay, who is the city hangar?
The earthquake occurred, the whole city lost power. We're in the process of testing our circuits and slowly bringing the entire system up. And we're working.
Now I get to see the Super Bowl.
Jerry!
Hey, I want to know Jennifer's here, Jerry. Hey, all right, you guys. You want to cut? You're going to pull this stuff back in the net. You're not taking us. Watch out, here it comes.
Jerry! It's me, Jennifer, out here! Hi! Go see him, go see him. Go see him. Where's he gonna go?
He's all right.
Cars. Yeah. Yeah, if you can. Pretty close to the end where those people are standing right now, and we were warned to get away that the overpass would not hold our news van. So I don't know what those people are doing. They're basically taking their lives in their hands to get some pictures right there. It looks like it's news media to me. However, there are a few looky-loos, and there are a few people who were here since the earthquake hit at 4:30 this morning. It's been 5 hours since then, and they have been kind of hanging around to see how this whole drama plays out, the drama under this transition road right now. I'm glad you asked about those news media people, because it really is a scary position up there. As I said, we accidentally drove to that where that is right now, and we were warned very loudly and very strongly to get off of there. So they're basically doing that at their own risk. Oh, Carrie, if I had to guess, I would say about 40 feet. So it's about a 40-foot drop. In fact, we have one witness here who was trying to stabilize some of the people who were injured. The gentleman I mentioned to you that was pulling the people out of cars, he was actually here and he saw the motorcycle officer fly off the top of that overhang right there, and he said he flew about 40, 50 feet in the air in addition to the 40 feet drop that he dropped off from there. And the gentleman I talked to had witnessed the whole event and was pretty shaken up by that. All right.
Green car, is that partially under?
Helicopter 70 November, verify your location right now.
I'm a mile northwest, 70 November.
Helicopter 70 November, if you're from the northwest, do not cross any runway. Bravo taxiway cleared to land.
Burbank Tower, helicopter
Helicopter 680, Burbank.
680, that's 5 miles southeast west track.
Live right now?
Helicopter 680, IDM transition approved by altimeter 3018. Police 100, radar service terminated, maintain VFR for 2. Helicopter 03, radar service terminated, maintain VFR for
118 freeway, Balboa at 1.3.
We're 602, taxi to park. It's 5 LA, correction, helicopter 5 LA, maintain VFR frequency change per
373, southbound Sacramento Reservoir.
And helicopter 680, I say again.
Were you high? Just keep the picture, because I can't hear them. Were you talking live, Phil? Frank? I believe so.
Standby. Cessna 330, cross runway 8 and contact ground 123.5.
Roger, cross 8.
This is Frank.
Northridge, we got you back. Still 1-5.
County 6 is 118. I got numerous helicopters there, one only, say request.
Sure, I'd like to exchange light sure remaining clear of all runways.
Air 1 maintain 200-foot separation with the helicopter north of you, landing on Bravo taxiway. Bravo taxiway cleared for takeoff. On course.
Air 1.
All right, other helicopter, correction, helicopter 70 November, customer helicopter just now departing.
They got him, 70.
All right, other helicopter unanswered, say again.
Piper entry at the zoo for Golden North.
Helicopter 53
Yeah,
actually
those
Golden
people
North
are
approved,
like
Burbank,
hugging each
altimeter
other,
3018, IDEN.
Police 11, half speed.
Right there, PD 100.
PD 100, sir.
Back with you, 5 East, have the helicopter traffic going to work southeast spot.
Police 100, squad 4214, IDEN.
that, David. I'm standing in the Newhall Pass where we just felt quite a sizable aftershock. The ground underneath my feet moving, and as we're surviving through this one of the numerous aftershocks we've been feeling, what we're looking at is another casualty of the earthquakes. The officer of an LAPD motorcycle officer being removed from the scene of the 14 transition road to the 5. Just above where the rescue workers are working right now, you can see some of the cloudy dust on the hillside, if you can see that, Del. That just occurred within the last 10 seconds, right during the aftershock we were feeling. I don't know if you were feeling that in Hollywood, but we felt it pretty good right here on the solid ground. And what we feel is what you can see up on those hillsides, the dust that just kicked up with that aftershock, and we've been seeing that throughout all of the Newhall Pass.
Take a look at this. At least 50 mobile homes have burned to the ground in this mobile home park. Just total devastation, row after row, mobile home after mobile home, everything just lost, everything absolutely burned to the ground. Very sad, and of course the most devastating part is the folks here couldn't even call for help, so they just had to stand around and watch as their mobile home park burned to the ground. Now I have a, what did it sound like? What did you hear this morning?
It was just a terrible rumbling. I just held onto my husband when we were in bed laying down, and I just was grabbing him and just saying, oh my God, and it was worse than the 71. But I think ours was worse because the house fell off the foundation.
Now, as this was burning down, I understand there were explosions all morning?
It sounded like popcorn, you know, just boom, 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 because of the gas mains kept popping, and then another one would go, and another one. And they made everyone evacuate, and we had to leave. And then we just came back now to see what's left. We don't know, you know, who's here, who isn't. But all of our kids got out safe. Everyone's okay, except I broke my nose this morning. I tripped and fell, but other than that, everybody's...
We're back here live in Sylmar. It is just so sad to hear these people. Just total devastation, and there was really nothing they could do. It was gas explosions, fueling this fire, and just leveling this mobile home park. I understand that there was even a new area with brand new mobile homes that went up on the other side.
That's where I live, and just 2 houses from us, there was like a whole row that was going. And it was just unbelievable. And then the smell of gas, because wherever you go, you smell, over in a new section, you smell strong smell of gas still, and we don't know. It could still go. We don't know.
All right, well, thank you.
That is left now is a pile of rubble. There are a lot of people out here trying to help with the rescue efforts. At first, 4 people were trapped in this home. Let's show you some videotape. Police have been walking through this rubble trying to find the remaining person. One woman, described as a 67-year-old woman, still underneath all of this rubble. Now, 3 people did get out of here, 2 with the help of neighbors. Another woman who is 74 years old was helped out by LA City Fire and LAPD police officers. Now, they're concerned right now about aftershocks. They were really working in here, a lot of men down working in the rubble, but with the aftershocks, they're concerned something would fall. So they are just basically taking it step by step. And in fact, one of the firefighters, Jeff Gonzalez, talked to us about how his rescue efforts went, rescuing a woman by the name of Rose.
They are worried about the aftershocks. You saw Paula Lopez a little while ago. She, of course, worried. We're worried. Rescue workers here worried about it because the possibility that more this concrete might settle down. So every time they dig a little bit, they have to prop some 2x4s in there to keep the structure safe. Just to show you a little bit of the damage all around here, let's roll some videotape, Dan, in the truck here. We're rolling the videotape from here. We'll swing around. This will start from the other side of the parking structure. That is it. That's the main entrance, or what was the main entrance of this 3-story parking structure here at the Northridge Fashion Center, just across the street from J.C. Penney there. That was where the cars all drive in. This is what is taking place, although it says recorded earlier. This is the way it looks right now. The walls came down on that side. That side right there.
House. Let me tell you a little bit about this structure. It was built on stilts, as you can see, but can you also notice that the foundation of the house is still intact? The entire slab of the house is still intact. It apparently had been bolted to this mountainside to a cement slab on the ridge here. And apparently the jolt was so intense, it literally ripped it off its foundation. And you can see the steel bolts there. They're completely curled and gnarled, just ripped away from the building. building. The only thing that kept the house from going all the way down the hill was that bank of trees there. We're told there were 3 people in the home at the time, a father, a mother, and a 4-year-old child. And now apparently the father and mother have both been taken to the hospital. The 4-year-old, I'm afraid, I have to tell you, the 4-year-old did not survive, did not make it, and is still underneath the rubble at this point.
And we only had flashlights to tend with, and we went here and just decided, where do we start? And we started looking around, and we heard a couple voices under this house. There's a house just to the north of us that also slid over, and we didn't hear anything over there, so we figured we're going to go for what we heard, and that's what we started digging. And on the north side of the house over there is where we started entering, and it turns out we were able to excavate the bodies on the far south side.
But come on inside. I just want to give you an idea about what sort of damage we're seeing now. I want to reiterate that this certainly isn't the worst that we've seen, but things are bad. The gentleman who owns this home is Armin Kenny. He repairs, Armin K. He repairs and tunes pianos for people all over Hollywood. He's got lots of expensive things here. Mr. K, your grandfather clock here. Let's talk about what went on here this morning.
Well, it's all broken pieces. Actually, what happened when I felt the earthquake, I jumped from bed to run to the kids. And then I felt the whole cabinet falling on my head with the 20-inch color TV fell on my head, and it got open, of course. And I had blood all over my face, but I ran to the kids. We ran out, and everything was shaking.
Take us on a little tour here. We've got your grandfather clock.
The grandfather clock. Then here we have this big lamp that was sitting on this table. And from there, it fell on this expensive piano. It's a Steinway from 1876. That's worth over $200,000.
Gilded in gold, we might add. You said that all of your lamps here fell. Let's swing over, Brian, behind you. The chandelier came right out of the ceiling. You can see it there. Isn't that true, Mr. K?
Yeah, the chandelier fell out from the table and ripped out of the ceiling and went down and all broke to pieces, of course. And then from there, I came here to see and in the back I got what do you call that? The stereo cabinet with all the system, everything, the amplifiers, the singing equipment, turntable, VCR, whatever. Everything fell down on the floor. Everything is broken to pieces.
Yeah, Brian, come on in. Let's show here your fireplace screen, your statues, and here is your case with your CDs and your television set, VCR.
All the stereo system and cassettes and VCR and singing equipment and microphones, everything fell down on the floor, of course. And then...
Okay, Pat, go ahead. Okay.
Tremendous amount of their stock. And on the corner is a vintage building. It was built in 1926. Unfortunately, it was also a brick building, and this is what you see. Complete devastation. This thing just came tumbling down. It was a one-story building. It once housed the AAA Flags and Banner store, and this is all that's left. Workers here are busily taking out some of the stock and bringing it to other locations, but as far as the store is concerned, there's just really not much. It seemed to have survived many other earthquakes.
Sure did. Survived a lot of them, but this was a little too much for it, I guess.
Are you going to just take it down and rebuild?
No, I'm not going to rebuild.
Not at all.
No. It's going to be a parking lot.
All right. Why don't you come on over here as the owner of the store itself. Why don't you join us here just for a second? Mainly glass, or you don't seem to have any water damage or anything like that?
No, but merchandise, I mean, when the thing went, the dust just killed everything. We have computers in here that we make our signs. We have fabric flags and all these other things that just got ruined. It's the dust. The dust just killed it.
You've gone through other earthquakes. I mean, we had the big one in 1971, other earthquakes in the 80s. Nothing like this, huh?
Nothing that I remember. I mean, I never had any damage in any of my other stores in those days. I mean, God, last night when it hit, I knew this was, this was a lot bigger than the one we had, 10, 12 years ago.
So what you can train in on that? The station is closed, as you can see. They apparently do still have gas in stock. The problem is all the power is off here, so the gas station is closed. And that is a problem here, that people are going to have to find fuel somewhere, but not here. So there are some problems in terms of just getting your life back together and getting the things you need. Some other things that to to take note of. This building here, as you can see, just completely came down, but another building just across from us, this hair, skin, and nails building just on the corner opposite us, was built at about the same time. Same kind of construction, but as you can see, it's still standing. Nothing, no problems there. And also, just around the corner, we have another structure there. That building moved 4 inches off of its foundation. I'm trying to pick through the rubble here. And they have some problems. And earlier when we were there, they could detect some gas odor there, so they are evacuating that building right now. So that's the situation here in Sherman Oaks, the corner of Van Nuys and Ventura Boulevard. A lot of destruction here, much more than areas, say, like the Hollywood or the LA area that we were at earlier today. Back to you, Pat.
Back to the truck. You okay there, bud?
Yeah, I'll be okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Hey, go around the back over there on the other side.
There's more?
Right here on the other side. I was sleeping over here. I'm sitting right here behind you. On the other side.
Did it all fall down?
Yeah, all the glass and everything fell down.
Right now, the program has about $35 million. And one major quake in a populated area could cost billions. But until the law changes, you are in the program if you pay the annual fee. If you buy private earthquake insurance, be aware of its restriction. Some property is covered without earthquake insurance. Though expensive, insurance can eliminate the financial aftershocks. Alan Mendelson, Channel 9 News.
To him, he was in great pain, and obviously a great number of broken bones, they believe, but they were working hard to get him out, and they just did. You can see them walking along. He is on the stretcher, and that is the man. We only know his first name, we believe to be Salvatore, according to a friend of his who also was sweeping the parking lot area. He is certainly alive. They have him on the gurney, carried by about 8 or 10 rescue workers. Certainly one of the heroic moments here in all the grief that has come about with the earthquake early this morning. They've been working for a good 8 hours trying to get this man out. As everything is going on around the city, the firefighters have been here, and this is certainly no easy task, certainly digging down with all the concrete, plus the fact of all the aftershocks. And you just saw, we showed some tape a little while ago of one of the aftershocks, and firefighters here, rescue workers, were obviously quite nervous in working in this area here with all the aftershocks, because there are big pieces of concrete that are just being held up by small posts here. What normally were 3 or 4 support beams are now down to 1 or 2 support beams. So they were a little bit nervous in working in this area, but they just kept on going. And they did get the man out, and there you see he is being brought out. We don't know what condition he is in. All the fire chief had said that he is in great pain, obviously in great pain according to the fire chief, of course, and tons of concrete. But one of the bright signs of today, it looks like he is alive, and hopefully he will be okay. As I mentioned, they're going to put him in this ambulance. This ambulance is going to take off in just a couple of seconds and scoot across to the other side of the Northridge Fashion Center. That will be out of camera reach, but they're going to go across to the other side where they landed a helicopter in the parking lot here. The helicopter will bring the man over to UCLA Medical Center. Only know his name is Salvatore right now, but certainly one of the bright spots in all the grief and all the drama that has happened with this earthquake all day today. And the firefighters who went through all of this during the fires last year, just a few months ago, certainly have to be happy they saved someone else in this time of need once again. Good news here from the Northridge Fashion Center. We're going to try to get the chief over here at some point soon, or some of the rescue workers. Josh is doing a great job. I'm going to see if I can, I'm sorry. Can I talk?
We'll show you some video from Valencia, where some of the stores, of course, have had ceilings cave in. The lines are very long. People, of course, trying to get supplies. And in fact, there are quite a few roads along the different areas here in this northwestern valley area that have buckled up. And of course, people are having a lot of trouble getting around. They're having a lot of trouble getting supplies. And as you can see in this particular mobile home estate, there is quite a bit of devastation in some areas. Most of it is minor, fences that have fallen and so forth, ceilings that have come down, but it has definitely rattled quite a bit of nerves here, and it has definitely changed the way of life for the people here, as it's become pretty difficult to do simple things like just simply go to the grocery store and get your supplies.
I wanted to eyeball it once again to see if this most recent aftershock has caused any other damage. So we're just pulling up on this as we talk to you, and we'll take a look at it with you. Gee, how do you tell if a building that's been through an earthquake like this and has suffered so much damage has suffered some more? We'll just have to look together here. You can see that that the building has suffered quite a bit. What you're looking at is just the interior there of the apartment complex, and you know, we don't know what the inside of that apartment building must look like, but the outside is certainly buckled, and the roof, as you can see, shows signs of trying to cave in. On the street, pan to your left a bit, Phil, so that they can see the emergency vehicles there. There we go. That are still in the street. You've got all the fire trucks there and ambulances in the ready position, but it doesn't appear as if they are moving into any particular kind of action. But we can imagine that that building that has suffered so much already is certainly becoming more and more weak each time it suffers another aftershock. But that is the scene here, and just flying over the apartment complex in Northridge that suffered so much damage in the initial quake in Northridge. David, Pat? Yeah, this is just down from the that apartment complex that we've been talking about. This is something that we showed you earlier today. This is not new damage from the aftershock as far as we can tell. We did see earlier this this apartment complex that seemed to split apart, where the pillars over the carport area simply broke off, and that portion of the building fell down on top of some cars. That is an apartment complex that we're looking at there, and it's just around the corner from that apartment complex where you said some 400 people were living. This is a smaller apartment complex, and I think what the kind of building that David was talking about, we talked to seismology experts just last week, as a matter of fact, about these types of buildings, because we were doing stories about the Santa Monica earthquakes that were happening, the 2.2, the 2.6, I believe it was the 3.4 and a 3.7, or that was about the magnitude that we had last week, and we were doing stories about it, and an expert in seismology talked to us about the fact that some of these older buildings that were built before code really need to be brought up to code, and boy, that is a wide open space, and you can understand why, and they were a whole bunch of folks out here, maybe over 100, but now there are fewer people. But looking again at the parking structure, you can see how that is a parking structure that we can only guess will be considered totaled. It's just the floors have collapsed in, and the walls have buckled in on top of the collapsed floors. Again, parking structure at Cal State Northridge. Right. Right. Okay.
The Oak Ridge Mobile Home Park minutes after the quake. Ruptured gas lines, structures exploding into fireballs. Residents already rattled had time only to save themselves. No power, no way to call for help. The first fire unit spotted the flames from the 210 freeway more than an hour after the quake.
Got any help coming? There's brush fires all over the place, so most of the help that was supposed to be coming here went to the Lopez Canyon area.
There was no saving anything the flames came near. Every feeble effort choked off by the smoke and the heat. Frank Flores Jr. came to find his mother and tried to save her home.
We got to get out of here. She just started tossing stuff out her car, and, you know, parked it up the street. And I think it started about 2 or 3 down. You can see the lights, the flames flickering. And, it just kind of went, you know, home to home.
Did you save some things?
Everything I could throw out the window. Not everything, but family pictures, and I have clothes to put on my back, and that's it.
And this is your place here?
Yes. This was my place right here.
Barbara Crane and Mike Johnson walked a long walk back to the ruins of their 4-month-old home. Everything gone, their motorcycles melted. Their collection of antiques, first shattered, then burned. Overkill.
The fire spread under the house when we were still in bed. It was still shaking. The fire spread under the house. We just got out. We had nothing.
You keep on going. Second time. Northridge was the first one in '71 and went through that too. A couple of fires and an earthquake.
It's tough to look at. It's a lot of your time of your life going up in smoke in front of you.
30, maybe 40 homes gone before the winds died, before another fire crew came from another fire nearby to meet futility in person. It was all so sudden. It was all so expected. Matt Stevens, Channel 9.
Take a look at this over here. This here used to be a a triple wide trailer. It was a very large home, and now look at it. It's just totally crumbled to the ground. And as a matter of fact, there were two homes like this size, side by side here. And when those gas mains went, as we've seen them go throughout the Southland this morning, this was the devastation. This was the result. In fact, if you can see the home just behind it, that yellow home, you can see that, in fact, everything has melted off of the back of the wall. And if we can come back to the live pictures here, we'll show you that the trailer home behind it there has practically melted. But there is a home over there to tell you about Millie's home. This is what, Millie?
Millie Ballas.
Millie Ballas, how long have you lived at this trailer home?
14 years.
Okay, now tell me, show us, and it's going to be hard for the camera to move around, but we're going to whip around here and show them where your house is.
Well, this house burnt and the house next to it, and what saved me was that wall there. That saved my house from burning, but it did do a little damage to it, and our house shifted off. Our house split right in half.
Okay.
And
so the large sheet of really what it was a carport roof, right? Yeah. The large sheet that fell over protected your house from getting burned by all the flames.
Right, it kept all the flames from there, but it did singe some of the house, and I lost the couch. It started, if I didn't come back in, my house would have burnt also.
Definitely could have been a lot worse. Millie, tell me please what it was like, what you heard, what you felt.
Well, it was like a big bomb, and then it just shook around and around and around, and then we just stayed in bed. We didn't get out until it stopped. And then we saw fire, and everybody was yelling fire, so we got dressed and ran. And that was it.
Millie, how long have you been in this area? Have you ever felt anything like this before?
Oh yeah, when I was a kid. In 1931, we had that big fire, that big earthquake in Long Beach, and that's when I felt the big one.
Yeah, Carrie, what you're looking at here is the 118 freeway in Granada Hills. This is a freeway collapse that we flew earlier today, and you may have seen it, but here's your first aerial view of it anyway. This, we believe, is over the, it's just before the Havenhurst exit, and so we believe it's either Woodley or San Fernando Mission Boulevard. That's where 118 crosses one of those two streets. But it's, again, 118 in the Granada Hills area, and you can see that, you know, it reminds you of that old game that a lot of kids had, Hot Wheels, where you had the tracks and you put them together by segments. It just looks like one of the segments was pulled out and is simply laying flat now instead of on the track like it's supposed to. It just pulled clean there. And again, this is 118 freeway near just shy of the Havenhurst exit. So probably is going to be right over Woodley and or the, yeah, it's probably Woodley Avenue. Right there is what it crosses. Yeah, that's exactly what it is, Carrie. There's a car flipped upside down there, and unfortunately we don't know the circumstances of that. We don't know how it happened, and it appears as if the emergency crews that must have been here earlier today dealing with this are gone. So we can't know for sure exactly what happened to the person in that vehicle, but it looks as if, just speculating here, it looks as if the car drove right into that chunk of freeway as it split and simply slammed head-on into it, or perhaps it was going, driving through the area and went off of it and then flipped over. So it appears that one of those two scenarios would have occurred there, and you can see that awful predicament that motorist was in, and we can only hope that that person somehow survived that. But you can see that the freeway there, just catastrophic failure. Yeah, we've been trying to take a look at that, Carrie, and it's difficult to see. Without a crew on the ground, we just can't really get a good vantage point. Unfortunately, we're being kept above 2,000 feet in the chopper as well, so it's a little difficult to see underneath that overpass. Just a guess here, it doesn't look like it's laying on top of the road itself. I can't see that far down to give you a good eyeball. Yeah, I'm trying to look through that graphic to see what they're looking at here. It looks like they are probably police officers or highway patrol.
Have lived in the LA area for a long time. You'll remember that back in 1971, during that earthquake, the hospital that was here was destroyed. They have since rebuilt the hospital, and you can see it looks pretty good on the outside. However, on the inside, things do not look so good. In fact, they were forced to evacuate all of the patients inside this hospital. So far, they've evacuated about 100 patients. I understand there's water, broken pipes. They have a lot of glass, papers everywhere. It looks like a mini tornado just whipped through this hospital, and they're having to move the patients out. Now, they've since set up a rather impressive triage right out here in the parking lot. In fact, when we arrived, they were doing surgery on a number of people, had them out on stretchers, doctors working away, nurses working away. A very impressive, quite an efficient operation going on here. Now, I have with me
Patients came in here for the community, mainly for lacerations and cuts and a couple of more serious injuries.
This is not a good time to need emergency care. Hospitals all over this area are closed. What can we tell people?
I would say, as far as I know, the county hospitals are still open.
Now the trench that was created by the earthquake here just seems to be getting bigger. There was not only the fire itself, but there was you'll recall, the water main break right there. And so this is right along Balboa, and it's right near Rinaldi Street. It's just north of Rinaldi. That's that gas fire that's been burning all day long. We believe it's a gas main break, and it just continues to burn. And yeah, there are several homes around it that we reported earlier had burned. And earlier we saw one fire engine that was in a protective mode around those homes. That fire engine is gone. We do see some official folks down there. It looks like there are utility people in position, and also some police and or some CHP folks in position to maintain some safety. But you can see there that the homes burned right in that area, and you see the gigantic sinkhole that was created, not, I don't think, by the gas or the fire, but by the water main break that occurred. That sent a river of water down Balboa Boulevard earlier today, but it looks like the folks were able to get that water main shut off. Now they're just... Yes. Test. Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2. Are you getting the audio? Yeah, okay, we're still here. We are having a little audio problem, but we are still here and still hovering over this fire that continues to burn. I was noting what you were saying about Southern California gas. I didn't catch all of it, though. Well, what we see are some utility crew members, and we see them kind of in a standby position about, I don't know, I'd say maybe a few hundred yards or a block away. There you see some folks, and it looks like there's a wrecker. There are some utility folks there. It looks like some Southern California gas. That's where that terrible tragedy occurred, where the freeway break took place, and where the LAPD officer was killed. This is the traffic jam along Foothill Boulevard and also San Fernando and Sepulveda Boulevard in this area. Huge traffic jam, and that traffic barely moving. Jim, what do you estimate the mileage on that traffic jam? About a mile back, would you say? Yeah, I guess we're saying the traffic jam goes about a mile, and I'm trying to look here to see if it actually moves, and I don't see them. It does appear like they're letting a couple of trucks get through on the 5 heading northbound, but those are just a couple of trucks with freight, and it does not look like the general public is being let through at this point. Just a complete shutdown of the freeway in this area, right again at the 5 and the 210 freeway. split, where in fact that's exactly what happened, where the freeway split in both the northbound direction, the northbound transition where it simply fell down, and then along the southbound transition where it also split. So this scene of this terrible tragedy here is now resulting, as we head into the commute hour, in a traffic jam. Pat? I just lost
a little bit south of Sunset. You can take a look. A lot of the mud came down, hit some cars that were parked along the side. Take a look at the exposed homes. A lot of that dirt was moving even as we were there, and some homes were not so fortunate. Take a look at this master bedroom that actually went down the hill. Below this would be Pacific Coast Highway. This now is in Santa Monica, where there was considerable damage to a lot of homes that we saw both outside and also inside.
We're along the 5 freeway once again, right in the Santa Clarita area. This is a freeway break right near what's called the Old Road. This is 5 freeway crosses over what's called the Old Road, and you can see, look at that truck that appeared to have stopped just in the nick of time. You can see where the freeway broke, and it looks like that truck driver there stopped and pulled to the left just as the freeway broke in front of him, or maybe right afterward. Just beyond his truck, you can imagine his terror when he looked over to his left and saw that freeway crumbling to his left. That is apparently what we're looking at here in the Santa Clarita area, along the 5 freeway, right near the Old Road. If that's not familiar to you, it's south of the Cowell Grove Boulevard exit. And if you go a little bit further up, then you have Lyons Avenue, and just beyond that is Magic Mountain. So we are right there along Old Road, and you can see just an incredible sight there. That truck that just pulled to a stop as the freeway just dropped. The overpass just dropped out right in front of him, reminiscent of the Oakland Bay Bridge when the car went down as the road just dropped out from in front of that car, and then it just went down. This trucker was able to stop in time and apparently didn't suffer. Right behind him, you can see there was an RV truck, an RV camper. An RV just behind the truck was able to come to a stop, as was another car. And there you see another truck. So that is the scene here along the 5 freeway, once again, the Old Road area in Santa Clarita.